You know, I gotta say, it was a really good move on Top War's part to release a hero with a gambling addiction. It's definitely someone that some of us players with a higher than comfortable VIP level can really identify with and relate to, and now I'm sad. Aw. Suppressing the feels and moving on to Yu's bio, we find out that she's part of a wealthy Japanese family who is always cautious about committing to anything. However, for some reason, as soon as she walked into a casino, she felt like she was in control of her life again, which seems to be the justification of a gambling addict, as we already covered. But she has since established her own club called the Hand of Fate, so at least she's raking in the money to be able to support that gambling habit, depending on how severe it is. But that gambling habit must be pretty intense because she's willing to gamble with people's lives through her exclusive ability, which itself is a gamble. It has several parts, so let's start with the first one, where at the beginning of the battle, she's able to provide a shield to all Navy units that reduces the final damage taken by 20.2% at max stats. Now, this shield only lasts for one round, and it's considered a unique skill. In other words, it replaces Optimus Prime's indestructible buff, which I will be referring back to this after we get through her exclusive skill because I have an extra comment to make about that. The next part of her ability is at the beginning of the battle, and after each time her ability procs, you randomly gain between 1 and 6 rage. So at the beginning of the battle, you might start with 1 rage, you might start with 6, you might start with 3. So you never know what you're going to get. That's the gamble of her ability. And of course, each time a unit attacks, you're able to gain an additional rage. And at 7 rage, her ability procs. Now, after her ability procs, you'll randomly gain, again, 1 to 6 rage, but when her ability does proc at max stat, she releases an attack that hits all units for 40.5% damage. A ridiculous exclusive skill. And if this ability was procced by a Navy unit, so if a Navy unit was the one that gave the 7th rage, it reduces the attack of all targets by 20.2%. And again, after this ability procs, she gains an additional 1 to 6 rage, depending on your luck. Circling back to the comment it makes about replacing Optimus's Prime shield, it should be noted that Optimus Prime does have a better damage decrease. However, his shield is going to be replaced by Yu. I did witness this in a battle that I tested her in. Optimus is able to give you a 41% damage decrease at max stats, where Yu is able to do a 20.2% at max stats, both of which are for the first round. Now, even though Optimus does give a better damage decrease, of course, this does not mean Yu is obsolete. She is an incredibly strong hero. I just want to note that these two heroes are probably best not being in the same march together. And if this hero wasn't overpowered enough, they added extra abilities as you level up her exclusive skill. At level 3, she's able to give all Navy units a 30% HP bonus. At level 5, you get a 3% damage increase that she's not required to be in the battle for, so just keep the level 5 skill equipped, stick her in your base, and you get a global 3% damage increase. And at level 7, she gives a 15% damage increase, but only to Navy units. And whenever she does that gamble to gain rage, so at the beginning of the battle or after her ability procs, it has a minimum of 3. So instead of recovering 1 to 6 rage, you're recovering 3 to 6 rage. Now, I just wanted to address a couple things in her skill details. Now, as always been, Rockfield's ability hits before any other hero's ability in the game, so her shield is not able to reduce the damage from Rockfield's skill. And then in number 4, upgrading exclusive skills will not increase the probability of gaining rage or the amount of rage gained. Now, this is a little bit weird. Now, for the first half of the sentence, the probability of gaining rage, what it's saying is as you upgrade the exclusive skill, you're not getting a higher chance of, say, getting 5 or 6 rage over 1 or 2 rage. However, the next part, it does not increase the amount of rage gained, seems to directly contradict her level 7 exclusive skill, which says you get at least 3. I believe this is poor translation or poor wording on Top War's part. Of course, I don't have a level 7 exclusive skill, so I haven't been able to test this, but the level 7 exclusive skill directly says you'll get at least 3 rage whenever her ability rolls the 1 to 6 rage. So I believe the second half of number 4 can be completely disregarded as just poor translation or poor wording. Moving on to the strengths and weaknesses, of course, I'll be talking about her as if she is a Navy hero, but she can be used on any branch. The only thing that doesn't work for the other branches is the attack decrease, but everything else about her exclusive ability works on other branches. But pretending she's Navy, as she should be, and as Top War should make things, because I hate the Universal heroes they keep releasing, she's going to be strong against Army, of course. I think she's also a very good hero for Kate Curry traps. If you don't know what a Kate Curry trap is, I strongly recommend checking out my hero spotlight on Kate Curry. Definitely something you're going to want to understand and know how to use. Now, as far as her weaknesses, of course, she's going to be weak to air, and Even though her exclusive ability is really strong, it is, again, a bit of a gamble. There's a chance that you're only going to gain 1 or 2 rage, which does lower the amount of times that her ability is going to proc in a battle. So it's a minor weakness. I say minor because her exclusive ability is just so overpowered right now. But as a result of this, this means her damage can vary widely, just entirely depending on how often her ability procs. As far as the pairings that I would recommend with her, my first pick would be Akatori. Your damage output is just going to be absolutely ridiculous. Belos is also going to be a good bet because she gains additional damage against targets with her proccable ability if they have reduced attack. And if you're using Navy, you're going to be able to reduce the attack with you. If you're limited to the free heroes, Basil's going to be your best bet for that attack increase, just dealing a ridiculous amount of damage. If you're short on orange heroes, Simon is always the good, reliable Navy purple. As far as the skills that I would recommend equipping, I would definitely want to lean very offensively with you based on her ability. So you'll want her exclusive skill as high a level as you're able to make it. You'll want a march size increase, an attack increase, as well as a damage increase. As far as the perks that you'll want to equip her with once you get her to 5-star, you'll want all unit attack and HP, as well as Navy attack and HP. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like. You'll also find my Discord in the description below. I highly recommend checking it out. I keep an updated list of gift codes in there, as well as you can vote on future Top 4 Hero Spotlights and spreadsheets that the community has made with just a lot of helpful information in general. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed, and as always, have a fantastic day, and spend responsibly.